going on? Rob Fish here from BikeBandit.com on another awesome segment of Bandit Tested. Here with Ken, the CEO of Bike Bandit, and today we're actually going to do the Bandit Tested review of Alpinestars Valparaiso Drystar Jacket. Ken, great to have you in the studio. Thanks again for your time. I mean, this is going to be your baby. I'm going to just kind of throw it over to you. And where did you ride? What were you riding? How long was your ride? And how was the jacket? And how did it work for you?
Great, thanks. This is the Alpinestars Valparaiso Jacket. I tested this out on the Cycle World Trek, which is a ride that Cycle World hosts every year. It's an industry event, so only industry people are invited, so it's a little bit exclusive, which makes it fun. So a lot of the OEMs are there, a lot of the aftermarket manufacturers are there, and some of the larger retailers are there.
Okay.
Awesome time. It's held in the Sierras, and it was in October, so it was nice and chilly in the morning, and also got a little bit warm in the afternoon, so I can talk a little bit about the jacket and its features.
Awesome, awesome. First off, it's always great to see that the gear is tested, but not in a crash scenario. I know obviously it would hold up, you know, fantastic. I felt, as I put this up on the rack, that you upgraded the chest armor. Comfortable?
The jacket is very, very comfortable. I will say that about the jacket. I actually did fall over a few times in the jacket. I didn't fall on the street. What we were doing is my good friend Scott Link from Alpinestars hooked me up with this jacket so I could test it out on the ride. And then Scott and I, along with a gentleman from Butler Maps, were riding KTM 990 Adventures on the track that was really designed for 450s.
Okay.
So in a few situations on some hill climbs, I definitely need a little bit of help with the big bike. Unfortunately, I have short little legs, and when I get in those situations, sometimes on the 990, which I've upgraded to 10-inch suspension, sometimes I do lose it on a hill every once in a while. So I did fall over in the jacket. You can see some dirt on the jacket. There's some dirt on the back. I didn't bother to wash it off for the video because I wanted to let everybody see how the jacket wears in real riding situations, because it is a Bike Bandit tested jacket where, you know, we take this stuff out, we actually ride in it. We're not just posers who hang out and talk about stuff.
You know what? I say that all the time. Real riders, real gear in real riding scenarios, and that is Bandit tested. Would you put this jacket, I mean, again, you said, hey, it was cold in the mornings, so that was full liners, and then in the afternoons, zip open everything, vents, and get it some breathability through it?
Yeah, I would call this a true four-season jacket.
Okay.
It does have two liners in it. One is the waterproof liner, and the second is the thermal liner. So I would feel comfortable wearing this jacket down into, I would say, mid-30s.
Okay.
No problem.
That's pretty substantial, because especially if you know, I mean, we know your style, ride a 990 on a 450 machine, you're obviously putting out some body heat.
Yes.
So at 35 degrees, you're staying pretty comfy with everything in.
Yeah, I have a natural layer of insulation, and this jacket fits me quite well. I would call this, unlike some of the Alpinestars leather, this is a true American cut versus a European cut. Okay. So, you know, I'm 5'10", 195 pounds. I usually wear a large. In this jacket, I wear a large. Okay. So it fits me perfectly. It has lots of adjustability on the waist, and as you can see with my waistline, it's adjusted pretty much all the way out. But it was quite comfortable to wear, and I would definitely call it a true four-season jacket.
When you say it was a 4-day trip, was it 4-day bikes fully loaded down, or the guys are on 450s, so it's kind of everybody's in camp, if you will, for the night? You're not packing everything. I know this thing's got a ton of pockets to it.
It does. On this trip, we actually had chase vehicles, which is really nice. So the only thing I had on the 990 was my spares, tubes, and things like that, and some tools. It does have a lot of storage, though. It has these two giant pockets in the front, which are pretty secure, and they also have a flap-over design, which makes it nice. Things don't fall out. You have these two waterproof zippers in the front here. These are waterproof pockets. The nice thing about that is, although this jacket is not waterproof, it has a waterproof liner. Right. Those pockets are waterproof, so you don't have to put your electronics and anything that's you're worried about getting water damage inside the waterproof liner. You can leave it outside in these waterproof pockets. So that is a nice compromise for a jacket that's not waterproof or Gore-Tex on the outside, you do have a few waterproof pockets, which is really nice.
Nice. I've obviously, this jacket is very, very popular. We move a ton of them as BikeBandit.com. The fact that it's Bandit tested by the CEO is just all that moda beta. Can I say moda beta? I'm going to say moda beta. The ventilation, that's obviously not something you're doing on the fly, because I actually had to close up a couple of your vents that were open. I mean, that's substantial.
These vents, Alpinestars calls them the jet ventilation system.
It's JVS.
JVS to those in the know.
That's right.
It's written right on the pocket, so they're very proud of this design. This jacket, I will give it definitely an A+ on ventilation. These giant chest pockets, along with the sleeve pockets, which you can adjust up or down, and they did leave mesh in the sleeve, which is nice. Very similar to the BMW Rally suit, which I've owned a few of those suits over the years, and I've always liked this triangle design. And here's part of the reason why. When you open this up, you'll see that this top kind of flares out a little bit, and that really catches a lot more wind.
Right.
Sometimes when you open a vent on a jacket and it just lays totally flat, if that just lays up against your chest, there's not enough room to bring any air through.
Right.
And then of course the huge component to ventilation that often gets forgotten is you need an exit for the air for you really to get that true, I guess you'd call it a Venturi effect. That's not really the true use of that term. But
that gets tucked in.
Tuck that in, you have this huge back vent. So with those triangle vents in the front, you have air coming up, shooting over top of your shoulders. With this sleeve vent, you have air coming up, running right up the inside, cooling you that way, and both are coming out behind you. When I stopped to open all these vents during the day, usually I wait a little too long, I got a little sweaty, I'd stop, I'd open all the vents, and then I'd actually get a little chilly because the sweat was kind of cooling to me at that point.
Out.
But you really notice the massive ventilation on this jacket when you do that. Definitely this jacket for somebody who likes a lot of ventilation, it's probably the best on the market for that purpose. I'll give it A+ on that. And then you also have a huge storage pocket in the back, which also has the fold-over design. This is where you could put the liners when you take them out and stick them in there if you don't have bags.
And you obviously, since we're kind of introducing the world to you and your riding style, do you wear a hydration pack?
Yes. So one of the detractors for this jacket is I tend to drink a lot of water when I ride. A lot of times on longer rides, especially in hot weather, a lot of Baja experience that I have over the years, the number one thing where I see people crash and burn is because they're not hydrating properly.
Right.
It affects your motor skills. So if you're not hydrating, you're not riding at your ability, and it also generally makes people cranky and no fun to ride with. So I don't want to be cranky and no fun to ride with, so I do drink a lot of water. One of the issues I had with this jacket is when I put my Camelback on, because there's not a built-in pocket for the Camelback, it covered up, let's say half of the surface area of this vent, which took away from the venting that I was feeling when I didn't have the Camelback on. Two ways you can solve that problem. You could put your Camelback down in here if it has a long enough hose.
Right.
A Camelback, I should say, hydration system.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's like Kleenex, but there are actually a lot of products out there made by other people that are, in my opinion, better than the original Camelback, and I have some issues with the way that Camelback runs their political policies. Anyway, Climb makes a great hydration system with a much nicer bite valve and a much longer tube. So you could actually put your hydration system in this cargo pocket, or several of my friends actually mount them to the bike as well. Yeah. But in this case, I was testing this jacket. I didn't have that kind of flexibility in the gear that I brought along, so I did wear a Camelback hydration system.
Thank you.
And it did cover up some of the ventilation. So I would say that while this jacket is awesome for hot weather and great ventilation, you're in that conundrum where you want your water because it's hot, and you also want your ventilation because it's hot. So if you're a person who drinks a lot of water and wears a hydration system, this jacket, you would have to make some adjustments on where you store that water.
Sure.
But definitely awesome as far as the ventilation goes.
And in your 4-day ride, take a guess. How many miles? And this is totally off-road.
There were some road sections, some transition sections.
Right, to connect.
It wasn't that far. It was more of a technical ride on a big bike. I would say it's probably over 4 days, maybe 800, 900 miles. Not very far.
That's pretty far. Now, mind you, you're talking with the man, the myth, the legend here. Ken's got a lot of experience riding Baja, where you're doing 300, 400, 500-mile days, hence the water consumption.
Yes.
In a hydration pack.
In a hydration
pack. But you would recommend this jacket to a friend, and what you said is, hey, if you're in hot weather, that's a go-to. If you're looking for a fantastic package, that's a go-to. Scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I'd give this jacket about a 7.
Okay.
I would give it a much higher score except for the hydration pack issue. I think the construction's nice. It is by no means at the level where the Alpinestars Durban jacket would be, which is a Gore-Tex shell.
Right.
Or, certainly the Climb Badlands or the Climb Rally jackets are a whole nother level.
Sure.
But at a price point of just over $400 for this jacket, compared to the Durban, which is in the $750, $800 range, and some of the Climb stuff goes well above that.
Sure.
This is a great buy. I like the styling. I like the multiple colors. Look really good. It's comfortable. It has lots of expansion joints in the elbows and the shoulders. So I think it's a great jacket for somebody who's wants a technical piece of equipment because they do some real adventure riding or enduro riding. The only thing to be careful of is that hydration pack issue, but there's 2 or 3 ways to solve that if you really like this jacket.
Sure. So all in all, pretty solid. You'd recommend it to a friend?
I would recommend this jacket to a friend, no problem.
There you go.
I think it did a great job, and it's well built, well constructed, YKK zippers, because nothing will ruin your day like being 1,000 miles from home and having your zipper on your jacket or worse, your pants getting jammed up, and then your safety pins and duct tape the whole way home, and that's no fun for anybody.
No, and it's not sexy.
It is not sexy.
And that's actually a sexy looking jacket, if I don't mind.
It's a very good looking jacket. I got several compliments when I was wearing it about the style because it had just came out at that time. So Alpinestars always does a great job on the fashion aspect of it. I like the fact that they've branded it with a few Alpinestars logos, but it's not over the top. I don't feel like a billboard driving down the road.
Sure.
So it fits well into that adventure bike enduro person who's not a pro motocross racer, doesn't need to have the logos plastered all over them, but at the same time, it's a good-looking jacket and comes across well on adventure and enduro bikes.
And there you have it, my friends. That's Ken, CEO of BikeBandit.com. That's the Alpinestars Drystar Valparaiso Jacket. I'm Rob Fish. We're BikeBandit.com. We love you. Thanks always. Wait for the next installment of Bandit Tested. Enjoy your day.